Tanashi!
What is up, YouTube? This is Tanashi, back with another Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck profile video. This time I'll be showing you the changes and updates to my Beast deck. Now, there haven't been a tremendous number of changes, honestly. It's just been a couple of years since I touched this deck, so it's essentially going to be a quality of life update, if nothing else. I've also been trying to make this deck flexible enough to go first or second, but I'm becoming more and more aware that this deck was never meant to do that. So I'm catering this deck to be a going first spam build, which will include some specific techs that, while I'm not a huge fan of, will help to even out some of those more one-sided games. And you'll see what I mean when we take a closer look. Starting with the monster lineup, we have a pair of Amazoness Baby Tiger, the cutest little extender your heart ever did see. As a heart once per turn, it can special summon itself from the hand or the grave if another Amazoness monster is summoned, including itself. And it gains 100 attack for every Amazoness in your grave. We have a pair of Calantosa Mystical Beast of the Forest, a powerful interference piece. If he's special summoned by the effect of a beast monster, he can target and destroy any card on the field. We have a pair of Melffy Catty and a playset of Melffy Puppy, the main components of my reactionary engine. Catty and Puppy share a couple effects. As a heart once per turn, they can both be special summoned from the hand during each of my end phases, and if the opponent summons a monster or declares either one of them as an attack target, they can return themselves to the hand. And if they do successfully return themselves to the hand, Catty also lets you add any beast monster from deck to hand, and Puppy lets you special summon a level 2 or lower beast monster from your deck. We have a playset of Nimble Beaver, one of my 3 main combo starters. If normal summoned, it summons a level 3 or lower Nimble monster from your deck or your graveyard, which will just be a copy of itself. We have a pair of the Fabled Cerberell, a techie tuner to take advantage of the discarding costs in my deck runs, because if he's discarded, he can resummon himself from the graveyard. We have a playset of Tri-Brigade Karis, an extender that utilizes the vast stockpile that is the graveyard. As a heart once per turn, it can both discard a beast, beast warrior, or wing beast to special summon itself from hand, and like any other Tri-Brigade main decker, it can banish any number of beast, beast warrior, or wing beast monsters from the grave to special summon a beast, beast warrior, or wing beast link monster from your extra deck, whose link rating is the same as the number of monsters you banished with this effect. But in exchange, you can only use beast, beast warrior, and wing beast monsters as link material for the rest of the turn. We have one Undaunted Bumpkin Beast, a new tech with possibly the funniest name I've heard in a long time. As a heart once per turn, it can special summon itself from the hand or the grave during the main phase of any turn the opponent has special summoned 3 or more times in. And if it's the only monster you control, he can't die in battle while in attack mode. We have a pair of Valera Fawn Mystical Beasts of the Forest, an adorable extender and dedicated tuner. As a heart once per turn, he lets you discard a card to resummon any level 2 or lower beast from your grave in face-up attack or face-down defense, except a copy of himself. We have one Mind Mole, a tech I used in one specific synchro play, technically 2. He can't die in battle once per turn, but he'll banish himself if he's removed from the field by an opponent's card effect. And if he's used as a synchro material and goes to the graveyard, you get to draw a card. We have a playset of Rescue Cat, my second play starter. As a heart once per turn, it contributes itself to pull any 2 3-star or lower beast monsters from the deck with their effects negated, but they'll self-destruct at the end phase. And we have a pair of Alpha the Master of Beasts, my main deck boss monster. It cannot be summoned normally, but it can inherently special summon itself from the hand if your opponent's monsters have more combined attack than yours. And as a heart once per turn, it can target and return any number of beast, beast warrior, or wing beast monsters you control to the hand to return the same number of face-up monsters the opponent controls to the hand, but Alpha cannot attack directly during this turn. Moving into the spell cards, we have a pair of Ayers Rock Sunrise, a spell that only gets stronger as the game goes on. As a heart once per turn, it lets you resummon any beast-type monster from the graveyard, and if you do, all opponent's monsters lose 200 attack for every beast, plant, or wing beast in your graveyard for the rest of the turn. One Call by the Grave. We have one Instant Fusion and 2 Ready Fusion, or at least I will once the price drops a little more. They each let you pay 1,000 life points to special summon a fusion monster, but it can't attack and it will self-destruct at the end phase. The Instant Fusion can summon any level 5 or lower fusion, whereas Ready Fusion is hard once per turn and only summons level 6 or lower non-effect fusions. We have one Melffy Hide and Seek, a refresh, resource, and protection spell. It gives every beast monster a once per turn immunity to effect destruction, and as a hard once per turn, it lets you shuffle 3 different named beasts in your graveyard back into the deck to draw a card. One Monster Reborn, and we have a playset of Obedience Schooled, the third and arguably strongest play starter I have. If you control no monsters, you can special summon 3 different named 2-star or lower beast monsters from your deck with their effects negated, but they'll self-destruct at the end phase. And you can only summon beasts for the rest of the turn. I only play one trap, and it's a playset of Rivalry of Warlords. See, I've been very vocal about my hatred of floodgates in the past, but not every floodgate is the same as Imperial Order or Vanities, and I really need to stop trying to act like they are. Especially since the only thing this thing does is make it so that both players can only control one type of monster. After that is the side deck. I'm still playing a playset each of Cosmic Cyclone, Dark Ruler No More, Solemn Johnson, Solemn Strike, and Solemn Warning. And finally, we have the extra deck. I have a copy each of Fusionist and Flower Wolf, my targets for instant and ready. There's really nothing special about them beyond that, other than one of them being a 3-star Earth and one of them being a 5-star. We have one Fabled Unicorn, a synchro that tandems incredibly well with the Melffys. While both players have the same number of cards in hand, any activated effects the opponent uses are automatically negated and destroyed. We have one Naturia Beast, the main reason I use my Mole and Fusionist. It can negate any activated spell by milling 2 cards, and it's not once per turn. We have one Wolfrayet the Stellar Wind Wolf, the main reason I play Flower Wolf. You can only control one at a time, and it gains 300 attack every time a monster effect resolves until its attack is at or higher than 4,000. And if it is, as a quick effect, it can then return itself and all opponents' monsters back to the decks. We have one Joyous Melffy, a self-reloading tech to help push for gain damage. You can attach a material to let all Melffys you control attack directly this turn, and as a hard once per turn, it can return itself to the extra deck on the opponent's turn to resummon any level 2 beasts from the graveyard up to the number of materials it had when it left the field. We have one Melffy of the Forest, a combination resource and interference piece. As a hard once per turn, it can both detach to add any Melffy card from deck to hand, and if a Melffy monster returns to my hand while it's on the field, I can target an opponent's monster, and while that target's face up, it can't attack and its effects are negated. We have a pair of number 64 Ronin Raccoon Sandayu, the Great Beat Stick Equalizer. It can't die by battle or card effects if you control another beast monster, and as a soft once per turn, you can detach a material to special summon a 1-star token with the same attack as the strongest monster currently on the field. We have one Cross Sheep, a card that tandems well with the fusion spells. If a monster is special summoned to one of its arrows, it gives you different effects based on what kind of monster it points to. Pointing to a fusion resummons a 4-star or lower monster from the grave, pointing to a ritual lets you draw 2 and discard 2, pointing to a synchro gives all monsters you currently control 700 attack permanently, and pointing to an Xyz decreases the opponent's current monster's attacks by 700 permanently. We have one Mrs. Radiant, a generic Earth supporting Link. Earth monsters gain 500 attack and defense, Wind monsters lose 400, and as a hard once per turn, if it's destroyed, I can add any Earth monster back from my grave to my hand. We have one Tri-Brigade Bearbrum the Rampant Rampager, a bit of a tricky tech for this deck to work with. It needs 2 Tri-Brigade monsters to be summoned legitimately, but that can be worked around, and as a hard once per turn, it can both discard 2 cards to special summon a banished 4-star or lower Beast Warrior or Winged Beast, and while I don't use this effect, if it goes to the graveyard, you can add a Tri-Brigade spell trap from your deck to your hand, then put a card in your hand on the bottom of the deck. We have a pair of Tri-Brigade Farragut the Barren Blossom, a fun extender and hand resetter. As a hard once per turn, you can both special summon a 4-star or lower Beast Warrior or Winged Beast from your hand, and if she goes to the graveyard, you get to draw a card and put a card in your hand back on the bottom of the deck. And finally, we have one Folgo Justice for Hire, basically a win more piece if there ever was one for this deck. Now he needs 3 monsters of different types to be summoned legitimately, but that can be worked around. And as a hard once per turn, it can both special summon a For Hire from deck with a different type than what was used to summon it, which I don't use, and if an opponent's card is destroyed, it lets me draw a card. And it could let me draw 2 additional cards if I controlled 3 different named For Hires, but yeah, not even Donpa and Recon are worth running in this. And that is the deck. The changes may look minimal, but it does give me some more fun pieces to mess with. Bumpkin can intercept an attack I may have otherwise not been able to take, Rivalry helps to even out games against mixed type decks I genuinely struggle against, Wolfrayet may not be played much, but it's a great cautionary piece to land on, and Bearbrum can take advantage of the otherwise dead cards sitting in my hand later in the game. And while I'm still hesitant to run floodgates and such that is known to end games, Playing them in this reminded me that evening the playing field is not the same as ending the game for player 2, and I seriously need to lighten the hell up on that. I thank you for watching the deck profile video. If you can think of any ways I can improve this beast-only build, feel free to let me know. In the meantime, this has been Nanashi, signing out.
それぞれ難しい闇のハレーション見事